Hi, it's Tracee Dunblazier with the Coalition of Visionary Resources. We are the Mind, Body, Spirit Trade Organization. And today we've got a special guest. We are speaking to a man who has had a brick and mortar store for over 28 years in Berkeley, California. His name is Chaim Mahgel, and his store is called Afikomen Judaica. Welcome, Chaim. So wonderful to have you here with me today.
Thank you, Tracee. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So you have been in business for 28 years. That is amazing. And it also says that you've been in the same location for all of this time. Tell me about your location and what you like about it, and who you serve in that community.
So we're the business. I didn't start the business. I bought the business from the original owner, but I've been here for over 15 years. And I worked for the original owner for a few years before buying the business in 2008. So I've been the owner for about 12 years. The location is where we're really right at the intersection of a number of highways and freeways at the east side of Berkeley. So we're just a little bit south of the Berkeley campus. We're just a little bit west of the Berkeley Hills. We're just a little bit north of Oakland. And so we're right in this interchange of energy where there's a lot of traffic, and it's kind of a quirky little street. There's one block. There's three bookstores on this one block, and we've all been here for many, many years.
Wow.
It's a quirky little block, a retail. Yeah. It's probably the only retail block in Berkeley that doesn't have parking meters. So there's and it's a very nice residential area in Berkeley. The Claremont Creek is visible. And so there's a lot of walking that goes on around here as well.
Beautiful. And so does that imply that there's free parking?
There's free parking all around the neighborhood, all around the business. It makes it very easy for people to come and shop and,
Wonderful. Now tell me the kind of products that you carry at your store.
So we are a Jewish specialty retail store. So we sell all the traditional Jewish, apparatus for living a Jewishly engaged life. That includes ritual items like candle holders and wine goblets and prayer shawls, head coverings, and of course books, devotional books and Bibles and commentaries, and as well as translations. And we also, in the realm of being just a specialty gift store, we sell a wide range of jewelry and wine, art, music, as well as a very, very broad, eclectic range of curated books. Probably, we've been told we have the broadest range of books of any Jewish store in the country.
Wow.
So
wonderful.
We provide a lot of resources from a Jewish perspective, on life and all of its different aspects, whether they're religious or not.
Right.
And what we cater for a lot of people is we're a resource for getting them connected into their Jewish lifestyle, no matter where they are in that. If they're just beginning, they have a lot of times our customers are young families. So it could be a young couple or a young family just got married, or they have a small child, and now they're starting to want to think about how do we integrate some of our culture, some of our ancestry, some of our traditions into our life. So they'll come here before they'll go to, a synagogue or to make that kind of a connection, because it's less intimidating to come into a store than it is to go into like a religious institution.
Of course. So if somebody like me, who I'm not Jewish, if I wanted to know more about the culture and the religion, I could go into your store and there'd be somebody there to direct me as to the information that I could have to learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we can show you a whole variety of books on all different topics, whether it was Jewish history, life cycle, culture, civilization, or spirituality, prayer, and mysticism. You know, it's all available, and everybody is welcome.
Wonderful. So how did you said you worked for the previous owner. How did that happen for you? And then what made you want to then become an owner? This is not the easiest choice on the planet to make as far as work is concerned. So
Yeah.
it's a calling for sure.
Well, I've been in retail almost all of my life. So I didn't grow up religious. I'm Jewish. My ancestry is Jewish, but I didn't grow up traditional. When I was in college, I dropped out and became very observant, and I joined a spiritual community, an ultra-Orthodox religious spiritual community. And so I cut my college career short, and that left me as a prime, I was very motivated, to have to provide for a family. And so retail was always, entrepreneurial endeavors were always an option for me to pursue.
Right.
I've been living I'm from the United States, but I lived overseas for almost 20 years. And when I came back, I moved to Berkeley. I worked at San Francisco State University for a few years, and then I was laid off. And in that period of time when I was looking for other work, I saw that this store was advertising for a retail sales assistant. And I'm a rabbi, so I'm knowledgeable in Jewish tradition and culture and language. I'm also, kind of a, rainbow hippie person as well. That's been a part of my lineage as well. Rainbow gatherings, both overseas and here in the United States for many years. And so, this seemed like a good fit for me. And luckily they hired me. And after a few years, I saw that the business really needed to go to branch out in new directions. And the previous owners were not really up for that. That wasn't really part of their plan. They were kind of looking to wind down.
Right.
In fact, I actually applied for another job. I applied for a job at another gift retailer and wholesaler in San Francisco. And he said, and I really don't know how he knew this, but his name is Stephen Fletcher, and his store is Dandelion in San Francisco. I hope he's doing really well. But he said, Chaim, you should go back and buy that business. And I said, what are you talking about? I make like $12 an hour. He said, no, you should buy that business because you are perfect for that. If I hired you, it would be a waste of who you are. And so I basically went back to the owners and I said, I want to buy your business in a year. And they kind of got their act together, and we bought the business almost exactly a year later. Unfortunately, my intention then was to do what I am trying to do now, which is to integrate new products, new online presence, offer new services and space availability for people, practitioners or teachers or events in the store, because the store is 1,700 square feet, so it's quite large and it has a lot of space for events. But we bought the business just a few months before the economic crash of 2008. So we were never really able financially to do basically anything that we wanted to do. And just so now over the last 10 years or so, we've gotten very lean and green. I don't want to say mean, but lean and green. And my focus is really, we need to draw new blood into our, our customer mix. Most of our customers are older, older grandparents who are buying things specifically for their grandkids, but we want to bring in new life into our store, both in the brick and mortar location as well as online. And so to me, it makes a lot of sense because we're already a store that caters to a spiritual genre of articles and books and accessories for life, that we want to increase that and bring in new products that are going to be accentuating people's accessibility to wellness products and services that will take care of them, because most of our customers are coming in looking for a gift for somebody else. And we want them to be able to feel like, oh, I want to come in and get that for myself. Luckily for me, right next door to our business is another huge store that was recently converted into a yoga studio. So we're getting now, well, not right now because everything is locked down, but for the few months that they were actually open, it did increase the foot traffic in our neighborhood. And right around the corner from me, basically on the same block, another woman well, she hasn't opened it yet because of the lockdown, but is about to open like a facial and body treatment studio that's also going to sell some wellness products there.
Oh,
so
good.
We're right in a neighborhood that's really primed for people to drop in and cater to their own personal wellness.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And so Afikomen, does that name have a meaning?
Yes. Funny you should ask that. So we get asked that a lot. What does Afikomen mean? So for most Jewish people recognize the name from the Passover Seder. So the Passover Seder is a ritual. It's a religious, spiritual ceremony ritual which is conducted around the dinner table in people's private homes, or sometimes in large facilities, but it's basically meant to be done in private homes. The origins of that ritual ceremony came after the destruction of our holy sacred temple, because there are 3 pilgrimage festivals in the Hebrew Bible. One of them being Passover, where the obligation was to go to Jerusalem and be present in Jerusalem for the celebration of the Passover. That can't really happen in its fullest extent right now because of we're a nation in exile. So the ancient rabbis concocted a ritual that people could do at home, and that became the Passover Seder. And they modeled it after the Greek symposia that was prevalent in ancient Greece. And the symposia was a lavish meal that men ate reclining and dipping different finger foods and having intellectual discussions. And that was a symposia. And so the rabbis modeled the Passover Seder after that because it was like, something that was very well known in the culture. So it's very easy to adopt at home. In the symposia, the Afikomen was this like body burlesque show at the end of the intellectual meal. So they would eat this meal, drink wine, have these intellectual discussions, and then have a burlesque show at the end. That was called the Afikomen.
Okay.
The rabbis said, no, we're going to ditch the burlesque thing. What we're going to do is we're going to remember our ancient temple that we no longer have access to. So at the beginning of the Passover Seder, you take a piece of matzah and you break it in half. Part of that broken matzah you eat at the beginning of the Seder. The other part of the broken matzah you wrap up and you hide it until the end of the Seder. That's supposed to keep people's interest alive during the ritual. And then you eat that broken piece of matzah at the end of the Seder. The rabbis refer to that as the Afikomen.
Okay. Well, that's what a wonderful piece of knowledge and history that I just got that I did not have. So thank you so much.
Sure. So that's what we do in our store. We answer that question just like that.
Yes.
And other questions as
well. Over and over and over. So tell me about how you are walking yourself and others through this pandemic. Do you have any thoughts or wisdom, something that's worked for you, or just something that comes to mind for the people out there, the other retailers who are maybe just barely getting back to business, and how we're all going to recover from this experience?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and it is something that I reflect on a lot. I don't know that I have a particular formula. However, the one thing that comes up for me is, that all of this shelter in place really started around Passover time for us in our calendar. So Passover was in the beginning of April, and that's when all the shelter in place and lockdown. That's when people weren't able to travel to go to their family gatherings. Passover for us is like Thanksgiving for the rest of the country, and Passover was a miraculous flash experience, the exodus from Egypt, the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea. It was this extreme, like, revelatory experience that our nation received as a soul imprint at that ancient time. And we invoke that, in a ritual, ceremonial way by doing the celebration every year. Eat the matzah, drink the wine, tell the story. After the Exodus, you wind up in the desert. You wind up in the wilderness. And the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, were wandering in the desert for 40 years. And that reality was miraculous. You had manna, bread that came down from heaven. You had the well of Miriam, which provided water out in the middle of the desert for 40 years. The clothes of the people grew with them so that they didn't have to make new clothes for this whole 40-year period. It was a very miraculous kind of reality. So for me, what hit me was, we have now gone through this exodus, or we're in this exodus experience. We've left normal. We're no longer business as usual. We're no longer in a normal. We're not going to go back to normal. Going back to normal would be going back to slavery in Egypt. So what I feel internally is that we're moving beyond the old normal, which was really slavery to Egypt. And we're now entering into this wilderness reality, which is miraculous. And so my encouragement to myself first, but also to others, if anybody's interested, is to try to see the miraculousness in what's happening, around you. It could be that your relief grant came through, or that you were offered more money than you thought was available to you, or that somebody just called you and placed a $1,500 order out of the blue, a customer that you've never known before or did any business with. Try to see the miraculousness in the reality that we're living in now, so that we're encouraged to go forward with a broader perspective, rather than trying to get back to normal, which was really slavery to Egypt. Right.
Yes, that's beautiful. And yes, that's very encouraging to focus on what is miraculous in this, intense time of change. So tell us, Chaim, where can we, do you guys have a website that people can go to today?
Yeah, you can go to my website. It's afikomen.com. Very simple. Afikomen, AFIKOMEN.com. So the name is just blazing across the screen there.
Great. I just put it in.
Now, our website is a continuous work in progress. That's one of the areas that our business is trying to expand into, is to put more products up online. It's a slow process when you're working by yourself. We also are an affiliate of bookshop.org. So we have a bookshop page, which is bookshop.org/shop/Afikomen. And you can order basically any book that's available through Ingram book distributors through that portal. And that is a way of benefiting locally owned businesses rather than supporting the richest man in the world, who, believe me, doesn't need our business.
Right. Okay, wonderful. And also, I want to let everybody out there know that if you were in the Berkeley area, you can go to 3042 Claremont Avenue in Berkeley to say hello. When are you guys going to be able to open up? I know that you're doing curbside delivery.
We're doing curbside. Yeah, we're doing curbside, and because we do sell some food products, so we've been able to kind of be open. We're not getting a lot of business, but we are actually open, and we have been open basically all through the shelter in place. Now, now in our region in Berkeley, in our county, they just started lifting some more of the restrictions on business. That notice just went out today. We have actually been open this whole time, provided that people come in with masks and, But we also deal a lot with people over the phone from all over the country, and email inquiries as well. And if you don't see it on our website, feel free to call or email, and we can communicate with you that way.
Wonderful. Well, it's really been a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Again, this is Chaim Mahgel from Afikomen Judaica, and I am Tracee Dunblazier from the Coalition of Visionary Resources. Again, we are the trade organization for the mind, body, spirit industry. And thank you for tuning in today, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Tracee.
Thank you very much.